Hey guys, it's Matt here, and alongside me is... Who are you?
I'm Tristan.
Oh, it's Tristan. And if you guys have watched stuff on the channels before, we're actually putting this Tristan on two different channels of ours. If you've watched stuff on the channels before, you probably know who I am, you probably know who Tristan is, and
No,
maybe you might...
no
Oh.
idea. I don't even know who I am, Matt.
Well, I mean, to
Why
be...
should they?
Tristan, Evangelion isn't on Netflix yet, but but we've wanted to do something like this for a while, but I've noticed that Tristan and I have very different manga collections. So recently, due to a sale, I was able to get a bunch of different manga, and I realized that we both have very similar manga collections now, at least a few titles. So because of that, I wanted to do a little Book of the Month club type thing. This is going to be attached to Keikaku Corner. We're going to release these literally once a month, Book of the Month. So releasing these once a month, so we hope you guys like them. It's a new thing that we're trying out. I'll be, my background will consistently change depending on the lighting situation in my house or other filming issues. And Tristan is where Tristan usually is. Now, Tristan, what are we talking about today? As I'm about to hold it up, I'm putting it into shot. What are we holding up?
Now?
What are we
Okay.
what are we talking about today, Tristan?
Well, there I'm holding the number now. We're talking about Dragon Ball Super Volume 1.
Yes. So, this is one that
Did I do it right, Matt?
you did. He did it right.
Damn it.
So I have to start paying you now, I think. Anyways, I have to start. No, so here's the thing, right? So when it comes to this manga, I know I should have picked it up sooner because when I look inside, it literally, by the way, I should put up my glasses. When I look inside, it literally says that this came out in 2015.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm really delayed. I'm really late to the party here. But
Granted, it skips a lot, and it's not... Wait.
What do you mean?
What is your first print? Yours says 2015?
Yes, my printing says, it says 2015, right after the Toyotaro notice, you skip to the next page, and underneath the editors, the translators, it says Dragon Ball Super, copyright 2015. What does yours say?
Huh.
Oh, I'm sorry. When I scroll all the way down, it says first printing May 2017. I think...
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So, no, for a second there, I was going by the Japanese date, and I actually thought it was the U.S. date as well.
Gotcha.
This manga has been a little bit delayed in the U.S., hasn't it been, Tristan?
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like they're trying to do more every now and again because I just bought the newest volume at this time, Volume 4, and they're already telling me Volume 5 is coming out in May. So they're clearly trying to get back on track. They know they're behind. But when it comes to this manga, you mentioned, Tristan, that they skip around. And I think that's my biggest complaint about it, is that I'd rather them either not show it at all or show it in full. And I know that Toyotaro had written, because it says in the foreword, that he had written or had drawn, and I assume written as well, the manga for the Resurrection of F film, the manga adaptation. But
Yeah.
it is frustrating that they had just skipped by it entirely because, I mean, you can tell me what you think, Tristan, but I feel as if this manga, especially when compared to Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, truly feels like it is a vehicle just to promote the anime, where usually, and not all the time, but usually an anime is there, rather, to be a vehicle to promote the manga.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not the biggest fan of this volume. I know that things change as the series goes on. We're not going to talk about those in depth because we will be talking about them in future episodes. But when it comes to this one in particular, I do feel like because of how it skipped around, it felt incomplete. And I'd rather there be more, or in a weird way there'd be less. So they would just go, hey, look, you've seen the movies, go watch the movies. And then throw us right into the tournament arc. Now, what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like the way I do? Because, I mean, that's just my...
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess I would agree with that too, in a way.
Yeah.
When you put it in the sense of the manga is usually a vehicle to promote the anime and not the other way around, you're right, it does feel like that.
The anime came out first, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I guess at this point, we've seen the movies, we've now seen the anime. When this came out, I was kind of like, okay, that's cool, but by this point, I was just like, can we get to...
Mm-hmm.
It
New
was
stuff.
Interesting. Yeah. I wanted to kind of get to new stuff, and that's one thing about the manga that I've really enjoyed. The manga does actually take its own little twists on things. Nothing that changes the overarching plot, obviously, but certain things are different here and there.
Yes, I noticed a few things. One thing that I'm pretty sure was not in the anime itself, and please, correct me if I'm wrong, Tristan, they didn't actually have the scene where Kibito Kai actually went around and got the Namekian Dragon Balls. We just heard from them.
Yeah.
By the way, this happened, and it kind of felt really odd. So I do enjoy that this manga actually does, especially certain scenes that they elaborate on, even in the funny little omake, the little shorts in between the chapters, where we have Vegeta learning the bingo dance.
Oh my god.
Although I have to say, the one thing, you mentioned that not much in the story has changed. I think one key thing that really should have happened in this story that was completely removed and frankly disrupts the franchise as a whole is the fact that Vegeta did not get to do the bingo dance. He says it out loud. He says, I can't believe I didn't get to do this. No, but here's the thing. So it sounds really silly because I'm being tongue-in-cheek. But I have to say, though, showing Vegeta having that side, even though we see him learning it, but showing him having that side to try to distract Beerus, even though the manga says, hey, it's not like this stuff didn't happen, just go actually watch the movie, at the same time, it does make it seem... Because when I talk about the vehicle thing, too, right, I just feel as if someone should be able to, if they've read the manga for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, be able to jump into this manga and not feel, and actually be told, hey, go buy something else.
Right.
It's like, it just doesn't sit well with me. Now, I'm not saying that there can't be ads in the back of the books and everything, because there always are, and especially, it's really cool. I was going through some older Shonen Jumps, because we're starting some newer series on the channel, or maybe we've already started them already on a different channel of ours, and I'm trying to look to do some research for stuff. I'm not going to mention what entirely, but I was going through older Shonen Jumps, because they have a lot of cool interviews in them, and I have a fair amount of them. I have most of the ones up until we get into 2008, 2009, and then I just have random scattered ones. But with the older ones that I have, I was going through interviews and stuff, and I was seeing the ads, and I was kind of feeling a little nostalgic. I was seeing video game ads and manga ads and stuff like that. So because it took, there was one interview that literally it was an interview / general summary of JoJo Part 3. Because that's when the DVD was coming out by Techno Arts. So they were like, yeah, let's talk... Because these people don't know what the frick JoJo is, most likely. Because, this is the mid-2000s. There was no anime adaptation of it yet. So, I'm not saying manga scans couldn't have existed. But again, this is earlier internet than what we have today. Where, freaking something comes out in Japan digitally. And we get it here before Japan does. And it's like, wait, what? So, all jokes aside, though... the bingo dance thing, that's just a funny little thing. I know to me it's a little bit more than a funny little thing, but it's obviously not super plot, it's not crazy plot.
No, it does still have an importance in showing that Vegeta's actually grown as a character and as a person, in the sense that he's willing to forego his pride, even the smallest amount, to ensure that, everybody on Earth is safe.
Yes,
which is a big thing for him, so I get it.
Yeah, one thing that I had a problem with as well, and I want to hear your thoughts if you noticed it, the translation, and I'm not trying to put down, it says here the translator was Toshikazu Aizawa. Not putting this person down, but the reason why I have a problem with the translation is it's something that's probably, not probably, most definitely out of his control 100%, is the usage of certain terms. And yes, I know that they're not going to line up with Funimation's usage. After all, I have the entirety of the Dragon Ball Z manga collection, so I know that they're going to differ, but I could swear that certain terms were changed here and tried to use interchangeably, and if I know it's not going to be someone's first rodeo jumping into Super, but it really did seem confusing and odd in a certain way, where it's like, oh, we're going to the Lord of Lords world, King Kai, and we're going to meet King Kai there. And it's like, it's like, you can call, Kami, but if you say, oh, we're going to God's world, Earth to meet Kami. It just sounds odd, you know? So, and that's what I'm trying to get at here, Tristan, is I understand that the localization has to kind of do a little bit of both. It's like, okay, we're going to translate this because we have to world build. We can't just say it's so-and-so's world because it doesn't make it seem like there's an expansive universe, because you kind of have to do that with Super. You have to really make people understand, hey, this is the chain of command here. But at the same time, it is frustrating that you say the Lord of Lords world, and then we're going to see Kaio-sama. It's like, but the Lord of Lords world, that's his, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, it's like saying Lord of Lords, Lord of Worlds is a title for, you know, Kaio-sama. Kaio-sama is just his name, which it works in the anime when it's like, oh, Kami rules over Earth, or Kami watches over Earth. Okay, like, we know he's God, but, like, you can still kind of skirt around it. But in text, especially, I mean, you know, when Goku bit his tongue with Super Saiyan, God Super Saiyan, it became that way when we started seeing Kibito Kai, and we started seeing Elder Kai as well. And I don't remember, I feel like they called him Forefather as well in the end of the Z manga. But even if they didn't, it still is just something that he felt like it was like calling him by his title rather than Elder Kai, which again, I'm not sure if Elder Kai was just Funimation or if it appeared in the manga as well, so don't quote me on that, guys. But do you see where I'm coming from, Tristan? I know that you and I, because we've been seeing Dragon Ball Z since we were really, really young, we know all of the differences and the nuances here and there, but it kind of felt like a bunch of word salad thrown at me and then conflicting messages. Do you disagree there?
Okay.
Well, Joe, just by saying, we're going to Lord of Lords world. And it's like, oh, you mean Kaio-sama's place. Like, it's... I don't believe it was ever called that in the original manga. I know you haven't been able to read the original manga as much. Because have you read it? Or no?
No, I haven't.
Okay. And it's fine. I'm just saying, because it's a lot of volumes. That's a lot of cash to throw down, you know? But, so, yeah, I'm not judging you for it. It's just that it feels like it's a lot being thrown at you. And again, we know who these people are, but just having all those different names thrown around, I wish... I don't know, how to explain it. I wish either it was thrown in one direction or thrown in the other. Like, you're Lord of Lords now, or you are King Kai's planet.
Right.
Kaio-sama's planet. And by the way, I'm fine with them saying Kaio-sama, because again, I was used to that in the manga. Same thing with like Genki Dama and Boo with 2 O's, like all of that. The only thing that I remember changed drastically name-wise in the manga, from what I remember, was Hercule. Because Hercule was introduced in the manga originally as Mr. Satan, but his real name is Hercule, or like vice versa, like Mr. Satan, but his ring name is Hercule.
It's Hercule Satan, I think.
Yeah, they did something like that. They did something like that in the manga, and just to try to make it, you know, work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why they call him Hercule in this, and we have to accept that. But a lot of other people's names, for the most part, have been, you know, kept, other than, of course, new characters who have their new names from Funimation, since, assumingly, Toei is like, yeah, you're calling him Beerus, you know? Or you're calling this person Whis or yada yada, instead of having... Because, you know, the differences between, like, Kuririn and Krillin and Kulilin and all these other, you know, names that were never officially licensed. Although, actually, I don't know if they... Did they say Krillin's name in this manga? In this volume? I don't think they did. No, because I'm pretty sure he actually is Kuririn with, like, the R's in the original manga. But either way, I don't think they actually mentioned his name in this one.
No.
He was there, but I don't think they actually mentioned his name.
I don't think anyone actually addressed him by name.
That's really funny. Like, he's there, he speaks.
Later, maybe?
No, but of course, in other volumes. But, like, it's just really funny that, like, he has lines in this, but nobody says his name out loud.
Yep.
Yeah, no, this volume was pretty much by the books if you've seen the anime adaptation. Which is another reason why, I mean, again, there's little things here and there, differences, that I do think that make it worthwhile. But at the same time, I don't know, like, do you feel like this is required reading? Is kind of what I'm getting at here.
No, I guess I wouldn't say it's required, but I
Yeah.
would say like later on, not so much in like the first volume or
Yeah, I
so,
know.
but like in the next few volumes and now going currently. Well, I guess no, that's the anime as well, or is no, it is the new manga chapter.
Oh yeah,
like
they
they're
are
getting into new things.
Yes.
Now.
Yes. We talk. I think we were going to talk
We
about that.
mentioned it on
We were going
Korner,
to. We didn't get the
I think.
chance to, but
Oh,
we
right.
might
Yeah,
actually. Yeah, there was some delays there, but we might actually get back to it in the near future, or we may have already talked about it by the time this comes out. But no, you're right. They are getting to new things in the manga. So, but we're not talking about those new things right now. We're talking about this one, and it's frustrating because I know like some people out there who are like you and I who are like, but it would be odd if I didn't buy the first volume and just skip to like volume 3. But I think it's just one of those things where if you've seen the anime, because the thing is, the reason why I would recommend like the manga for Dragon Ball, both Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, because even though in Japan it's Dragon Ball, in the US it got split. The manga got split into Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I would say go read the manga over even watching the anime. And I love the anime. Grew up with Funimation. I love the Japanese dub as well. But I would tell people to go read the manga over watching the anime because someone. Yes, the manga is really long, Tristan, but no, it is, right? But at the same time, there's so much filler, and someone might go, oh, but then go read Kai or go watch Kai. But even then, Kai ends up eventually not cutting out as much filler as I would like, either because it ends up becoming plot essential mixed in with filler, or they just didn't for some reason. So at the end of the day, I'd tell someone, hey, look, I know that the manga is like 42 volumes when combining Dragon Ball and Z, but I would suggest someone reads the manga and gets that content there rather than watching the anime. Although, go watch the movies. The movies are fun. So much fun. We've talked about them on the podcast back in the day, back when we first started. So I really enjoy those movies, and I love the anime. But to tell someone, come on, just go watch 296 episodes. What do you got to lose?
Right.
It's like a lot of time.
Is a bit
actually,
much.
yeah. So,
and I feel like for the movies wise, they really do skip heavily. Most like the one they skip the absolute most is Revival of F.
Which you want to know why that
Resurrection F.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, both are interchangeable. You want to know why that frustrates me? Because I actually looked up online. I looked on Amazon just to clarify, just to make sure before I actually said anything. It is not available in English. If it was available in English, that manga, I'd be super happy. I'd be like, oh, I mean, I don't know.
Right.
It's not the
mangaization of the movie.
Yeah, it's not legally available. So.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It really is. So, I mean, I look, I'm not saying that the U.S. should get things that Japan doesn't necessarily, but it would be nice if it was somehow included in this. Granted, I know that it's, Viz talking to Toei, and maybe there's other licensing issues involved with that manga. Maybe, I don't know what it would be, what issues there could potentially be, but there always could be some issues here and there with that one. It's just frustrating that you skip over it in this manga. And by the way, they didn't even have a nice little splash page, because if you're reading this, that's what I'm trying to say. If you're reading this and maybe you haven't, you're like, hey, I remember Dragon Ball Z back in the day, saw all of that or read all of that. I want to get back into it now. And it's weird for me to tell somebody, go watch 2 movies and then read this. And also, some of that movie will be recapped, but it won't be at Bulma's house. It'll be on a ship.
Right,
or
it follows the way the anime did it.
Yes, which I don't have a problem with that necessarily. It's just odd that they said go watch the movie if you want the rest of this, when it's like it didn't even happen on a boat though.
Right, and I think they want. Yeah, that's fair because that's a bit weird.
Again, it's a vehicle to promote the movie and the anime.
And the anime.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they show you, they obviously show a lot from Battle of Gods because that's kind of how we kicked off Super.
And also you kind of
have to.
Yeah, because could you imagine if granted I still would have a problem if they switched both, if they removed both Battle of Gods and Resurrection of F, but thematically you do have to include it because that's where Super Saiyan God originated from.
Right.
So you do want to include something of that.
Yeah, and so personally, it's kind of a thing. They kind of assume that you've been watching either the movies or even the anime. So there are going to be things that you miss if you don't see those and then just jump directly into reading this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a problem in a way. But the cool thing about it is that if you have seen the movies or the anime and you go into this, it's kind of like a little bonus because there's a lot of quips here and there that are actually kind of really cool that I'd say make it worth it to read, because they even have this little bit of Goku doing image training. Like, at the very beginning when he's with Goten, he's like, hey, Goten, can you drive the tractor and collect the, harvest while I do some image training? And he fights Frieza and Cell. And it's really cool to see. It's like, right, he knows exactly how to beat them now because he's been training for so much longer now.
Of course, and it's image training too. It's in his own head, but but still, no, it's amazing. Also, just this one right here, just good. It's like good. He's not transforming into that form. Talking about Frost. That was definitely that was a lot of fun.
With Krillin seeing Frost for the first time. And another one that I like, it's something that isn't in the movie with Resurrection F. It's just Goku and Vegeta training on Beerus's world.
I thought that was there briefly.
No, they just teleport.
Or in the anime.
Maybe in the anime,
right?
But they go into that joke of, hey Vegeta, can we come up with a shorter name for this? Because like you said before, Goku bites his tongue.
Yes, exactly.
Some of that is hilarious, and it does make it worth. I think it makes worth, picking up the volumes and checking them out, because there are cool little things like that here and there.
Another thing you wanted to mention too, Tristan, you want to talk about some interesting plot stuff, because this manga, obviously because it is a manga, thankfully does cut out some of the filler. Now, I liked the filler in the Super anime because I feel like it actually was some good world building, and because there isn't a real villain like Frieza or Cell or Boo, it does seem like the filler does work in a way. It actually makes me feel like, I actually want to watch this, versus, when Gohan is consistently saving dinosaurs. The first time is fine. The second time, Gohan, you have a problem. And so, if it continuously happens, you're not just saving one dinosaur, Gohan. You're saving, way too many dinosaurs. Just putting that out there. I'm not saying you can't save a dinosaur, but Gohan, you want to be a teacher, you want to be, in the academy. You can't do both, Gohan.
Yeah, well, you know what? Why don't you take the kids out on a field trip and go see some dinosaurs? How's that for a biology class, Matt?
I don't know why, but immediately I was like, that's Jurassic Park, Tristan. That's actually the plot for Jurassic Park. Anyway.
Oh, God. Hashtag Hammond did nothing wrong. Which, if you read the book, no, he did everything wrong. He's a horrible person.
He's not a horrible person in the movie, but he still did some stuff wrong, though.
No, but, in the movie, at least he's kind of like the happy old guy. In the book, he's just the crotchety, evil old man.
Now, but you were talking about, I assumed you were going to go into the fact that they jumped right into new, not new stuff, but they just cut out every, filler thing. And, because you were talking about Universe 6, to me. And you said the phrase, they jumped right into Universe 6. I assume you're talking about them removing filler, or?
I mean, no, they still have the, they find the, I forget the actual name that they call them.
Zuno.
Zuno. They go meet Zuno and have that awkward exchange.
Yeah, no, but, I mean, Zuno and Jacko are both canon.
Jacko. No, I know that. I mean, the Universal Dragon Balls. I can't.
Oh, the wishing balls. The super.
Yeah.
Well, no, because in the anime they were called the Super Dragon Balls eventually. Right now they're doing this weird thing where they're calling them. They're like, oh, they're as big as stars.
Planets. Yeah.
No, they said stars in the manga, which is odd to me because Hoshi means both planet and star.
Right.
So in my head, when I see them, I actually see them physically. I'm like, yo, you're as big as planets because you are. Right?
Yeah.
But they probably went with stars. I don't know how it was written in the original Japanese, but they probably went with stars because the 1-star ball, the 2-star ball.
Fair.
So they probably went with stars instead of planets for that reason. In
True.
that case, I don't know if it's a Toei thing or if it's a translator's discretion thing. And that's what's interesting with some stuff in here as well. Just briefly talking about translation again a little bit. Where at one point, one of the gods from Universe 6 said, "Oh, you're friends with a human?" And it's always hard to know whether or not they're talking about humans or mortals. Like a human being from Earth, or like a mortal because we are gods.
Right.
I know it might sound like a silly little like who cares thing, like oh who really cares, but not everyone is human. Like humans, it's like a square and a rectangle thing. Like if you are a human, you are a mortal, but not every mortal is human. So yeah, but you see where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you flipping through the manga? I can hear pages.
I mean, yeah.
Good. Good.
Okay, so one other thing I gotta mention from Universe 6. So before they even start the tournament, you know, Beerus going on about bringing on a secret other fighter.
Oh, God.
So you see Monaka, and he even has the sound effects.
The boing.
Yeah, it just caught me off guard, and like it's hilarious. But
Wait,
I'm like,
did he not have boing in the anime?
I don't think so. No.
God, that's so funny.
That's why I'm like they actually put in the sound effect for it in the manga. I had to close the book for a second because I just couldn't. I had to contain myself.
No, you know, what I have to say that I do enjoy about this, just like the anime that it's obviously based off of, it definitely still has that Dragon Ball flair. It's not just the Dragon Ball Z level action. And I do enjoy, because, you know, you sometimes worry because, again, this is an adaptation of an anime, not vice versa. You're like, oh, are they going to keep everything? And we know what they've skipped here and there. A lot of the humor was in its filler, like Goku literally jumping through a wall like the Kool-Aid Man. So, or the thing with the tractor. Do you remember that scene with the tractor?
Yes. Oh, God, I will never forget that for how much it made you laugh.
It's just oh, because we've podcasted on every episode of Super in some way or another, and you and I were in the same room for once. So you and I saw that episode in the same room, and you just saw me. I thought I was gonna die.
I thought you were too. I thought I was gonna have to wish you back. That's how hard you were laughing.
Because at the time too, we were seeing the Japanese version.
Yeah.
So it's Nozawa. She's just screaming. She
did an amazing job with that.
She's like, blah,
beautiful.
And then stops, and then goes,
Yep.
blah, 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 and then jumps up behind herself with the tractor.
Right.
It was such a beautiful scene. Oh, wait a minute. Is that when the Galactic King was introduced, the one that we see here, or was that a different galactic beast or galactic being? Wasn't that or that was a different galactic being, right?
Oh,
I don't think it was the king, because I remember one of them having fur. Unless that was like the king's men or something.
I think it was supposed to be different.
Okay, okay, never mind. But although it really is funny though, like even though it's something we saw in the anime, it still is super funny to have the Galactic King just be like, "Why is no one like worshiping me?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, no, they all know like Beerus and shit." And it's like, "Oh, okay." So that was funny. Right.
The Galactic King that comes in with Jocko.
Yes.
Who, he's the same character.
Because he had his royal guards with him or something. That's why my brain was thrown off.
Right, I was thinking of somebody else. But no, that's still the same, I'm pretty sure.
So before we move on to talking about the art, I think that really just, all of my criticisms boil down to one thing. And it when it comes to the plot. And it's just the fact that this, in general, just feels a little bit rushed. It feels like...
Yeah.
And believe me, I'm not saying that I don't want to get to cooler, newer stuff. But at the same time, if you're going to adapt it, I think it should be adapted either in full or cut the things out entirely. Don't feel like it's just kind of like you're... like when Goku was running around the ring trying to, get himself, hyped up. Like, ooh, I got to work off this appetite. It felt like they were trying to work off the plot. All right, let's get through it so we can actually get to the other stuff. And I don't know if I, would want to actively be like, this is so amazing, oh my god, and like I loved it, don't get me wrong, I really liked it, don't get me wrong, but that is to me like, you know, when looking at this with a bit more of a critical eye, I'm like it just feels like it's too much happening too fast. But again, the other stuff that they added in, I really do enjoy that, and I enjoy that a lot. So but talking about the art style though, you know, here's the way I feel. Most of the promotional stuff, not all, but most of the promotional stuff, I'm like, that's Toyotaro, that's not Toriyama. However, the actual meat and potatoes, so the manga itself, so, you know, the black and white pages in the manga itself, it is very hard for me to distinguish that it is not Toriyama.
Yeah.
Like, if you told me it was Toriyama, I would not call you a liar. I wouldn't be like, no, I would believe it's Toriyama. Now, I will admit, I do, in talking about being Toriyama, like the most Toriyama you can be, I do enjoy the artist's work, the one that did the reincarnated as Yamcha story. I enjoy his Toriyama impression more than I do Toyotaro's. But at the in terms of, and I should mention in terms of character models, I'm not referring to things like the way they flow during battle and things like that. I'm referring to specifically character models. And I have to say though, I really do enjoy the character models in here. Again, looking at the black and white pages, the actual meat and potatoes of the content of the manga itself, I enjoy the characters a lot more, the model work, than I did in the Super anime. And I get it, it's television, it's not like every episode of Dragon Ball Z was on point 100% in terms of looking like something that would be, you know, straight out of something created by Toriyama. But at the same time, though, if you remember, Tristan, from the Super anime, a lot of people were way too skinny. It's like the Pikachu thing that happened. You know, Pikachu just lost a bunch of weight out of nowhere. You're like, what the hell? Like, you know, I know I'm talking about the new stylized version of Pikachu in Ultra Sun and Moon. I just mean in general, like, over the years, it's like, why did Pikachu just start losing so much weight? Same thing even with, like, a Yajirobe or a Korner and others as well. It looked like they were just going for something completely different, and at some points I was like, Piccolo, are you okay? Or, like, Gohan, are you okay? Why are you bent that way? So... yeah, so that's how I felt about the anime. However, again, I feel so much differently with this manga. Now, when I talk about the promotional stuff, though, Tristan, I'm referring to, like, when you turn the back of the book around and you see Goku's fighting stance and you look at his body. I'm like, that's not Toriyama. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Granted, I can't say anything about the, you know, Beerus and Champa and, oh, God.
Whis and Vados?
Her name is Vados, thank you. Because I was like, it's not Vados. Because for some reason my brain went to the wrestler Vader. So I'm like, Vados. I'm like, no, that has to be Champa. No, but Vados... By the way, Vader was actually, funnily enough, huge in Japan. So I'm not saying that couldn't have somewhat inspired the name Vados. Although I don't know if Vados actually means something in Japanese. Or any language. But Whis as well, of course. I can't say that they don't look like Toriyama's work because I haven't seen Toriyama sketch them. So I can't necessarily... Granted, it doesn't... I can't say... Because I want to say it doesn't look like something Toriyama would do. But again, I've never seen him sketch them. So I don't want to say that. Looking at Goku on the front, I see no difference. That's a Toriyama Goku. Right? So when you look at the front of this, you're like, wait, Toriyama didn't draw this? What? But then when you go into, you know, just the Warriors from Universe 6, a few pages in, and you look at this picture right here... I just do feel like I look at that and I'm like, okay, that's not Toriyama. Now, it doesn't mean that it's inferior. It's just not Toriyama, right? Same thing with, you know, Chapter 1. Basically, every page that I look at that says either Chapter 1, Chapter 2, the chapter pages, there's little things here and there that I'm like, okay, Toriyama didn't do this. I know, Tristan, you might be like, but look at their faces. And I agree. Right? Because I think we've had this discussion before. You're like, Matt, look at their faces. How, when you look at Chapter 1, God of Destruction, just premonition, how when you look at this, Tristan will tell me, do you not see Toriyama? In the faces, I do. I totally do. But it's in their character models, the way that they're positioned. It just seems like something that, I don't know. I don't want to say it's un-Toriyama. I'm not trying to make it seem like I've known Toriyama for years. I don't freaking know this guy. I'm sure he's a lovely fellow. But I've never met Toriyama. I've never, you know, hung out with him. But still, it just looks as if, not during the Omake, but during the actual chapter title pages, it looks like Toyotaro is doing his own thing, and good for him, right? You know, flexing his muscles and just doing something a little bit different.
Because I feel like that's mostly his only chance to do it a little more stylized, like maybe he would draw it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing for him to be able to do.
Yes. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also something else I want to mention as well that I enjoyed that we didn't actually get to jump on, the fact that they included all of these little tiny, like, oh, here's something from the Super Starting Guide for TV Anime Dragon Ball Super, or here's something from the official guidebook Jump Victory Carnival 2015, which is a mouthful, but I'm happy that they included these little things here and there, because obviously there's no way we would ever get to see them otherwise. So, and of course,
you even get an interview with Toyotaro and Toriyama as well at the end, which I thought was nice as well.
Yes, it's funny that I mentioned earlier I wasn't even trying to tie these in together, but apparently I'm a genius. Sarcasm. The idea that I was talking about the Shonen Jump interviews and how I love them so much, and it does really take me back being able to, even though it's a new interview, of course, but it takes me back to be able to see stuff like this in the back of manga. Now, I'm not trying to, be like, manga artists, manga licensors, they're lazy now. It's like, no, they get what they get, right? So if a company isn't giving them interviews, they're not getting interviews. Interviews cost money. Now, of course, Viz has worked with well, technically this is a Viz manga, even though I don't know if Toei is involved somehow, potentially, because it's weird. I don't know how this manga works. Let me explain, Tristan. Matt, what are you talking about? No, because I don't know if in any way Toei has to be involved, even though... No, because like Toei isn't involved in the original manga, obviously. It's Jump, the original, I forgot Shogakun. I forgot the name of Jump in Japan. Jump and Toriyama. That's all, right? In this case, though, Toei did work on the anime, so I'm wondering... It doesn't seem like they're involved in any way, looking at the... So it's just Viz Media, Shonen Jump. Yeah, from the looks of it. But either way, though, point, though, is that, I'm not saying that, licensors get lazy, but again, it really depends on how long you've been potentially working with, a company, if they want to let that get out. Usually in DVDs, Tristan, there'll be some really cool interviews and really cool stuff on the Japanese side of things, on either DVDs and Blu-rays, and we just never get those.
Yeah.
And it's not even stuff that's, crazy to translate. It's just stuff that, the Japanese licensor it's more, and the Japanese licensor is like, no, we don't want that to be over there, because potentially they know that it'll be a cheaper DVD set, and so people from Japan can reverse import and get the same exact things that they would get on a Japanese set. Not all the time does this happen, but it can happen from, now and again. Certain interviews, funnily enough, that are in some Japanese DVDs were actually funded by or English DVDs from Japanese voice actors and stuff, are actually funded by the English distributors. So that happened back in the day with Central Park Media, which was very interesting. But so in this case, though, I'm just really happy that Viz was able to include this, because it's a great transition. Because it does feel like, it's like... it's like, what happened to Daddy? Daddy's still here, but Mommy's dating Toyotaro. No, she is, but, Daddy's still here too. We all need to have a conversation as a family and discuss where things are going.
Okay.
Well, no, because it does feel like this passing of the torch, especially when you read the interview.
Oh,
because I forget, even though I know that Toriyama has been doing this since Dr. Slump, I have every volume of Dr. Slump. I haven't read them all, which is on me, but that's my backlog. But I have every volume of Dr. Slump, so I know that Toriyama has been doing this since the 80s. I mean, he's done promotional art for Dragon Quest, right? So I know he's been doing this since the 80s, but it really dawns on me that it's like, wait, he wasn't in his 20s in the 80s.
Yeah.
He was in his 30s. Right?
I mean, he even says he does his own little checks here and there, too. And
Toriyama's...
take away.
Yes, Toriyama is involved. He definitely is involved in both this and the anime.
But he's not the one sitting down at the desk drawing out the whole thing nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I do think that, they potentially... he isn't the one... I don't think he's even that involved to the point where he's actually creating the story. I'm not saying he doesn't check things now and again, because, again, they do have to ask him for permission. But, I think, they'll ask him, hey, can we include Frieza? Or something like that. Now, he don't know, and he'll be like, sure. Or he could say no. Now, it does seem like he, according to what he's been saying recently, he has a bit more work in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. But again, that could just be about certain scenarios. Like, I don't see, even though I'm not saying anything wrong with Toriyama, but I don't see Toriyama there sitting down and, like, writing every single word out in the script. I'm sure they just come to him and they're like, hey, what do we do about Broly? And he's like, Broly? We're going to do everything.
Who is that?
Yeah. Broly, you mean that guy from that movie that everyone loved but was never canon? Things will change. I don't know why Toriyama sounds like that. One thing that I love, keeping in the Toriyama spirit, granted many different manga creators and manga writers, manga artists do this. I love that he has his own, Toyotaro has his own avatar for himself. Yeah. And I love that even though it's obviously different from Toriyama's, especially it's updated because it has like the Capsule Corp logo there, and he's in a mech suit instead of just the face mask, the gas mask. Yeah, it's still nice that he sort of has a gas mask of his own on. So again, it just feels like this really nice passing of the torch moment.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. Now, you enjoy the art a lot. I'm not saying that I don't either, but I know that I initially was resistant a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that I enjoy was, and a friend of mine actually pointed this out to me, and that's kind of why I wanted to jump into reading the manga. Just looking at some of the fight scenes, it's just pleasing to look at because your eyes just follow the action as it happens. The choreography of the fights are amazing.
Yes.
And it's really nice on the eyes in a way.
It definitely, that's why I feel like it, even though it is a transition, I don't think that was never my issue with the transition, because the fight scenes, that's an easy, like, Toyotaro clearly has that down. He's clearly been reading, he's clearly been reading Dragon Ball since he was a kid himself, and that's what's so interesting about a franchise like Dragon Ball, where you could have a situation where, Toyotaro, I mean, heck, I don't know how old he is, but let's say he's in his 30s. Dragon Ball's been around for as long as he's potentially been around.
Right. So, and I might even say that it flows even a little bit better than the original manga, just from, like, motion to motion.
Yeah. You can leave now.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. Actually, no. Fine. Fuck you. Goodbye. Have fun reviewing.
Tristan, you had every chance to say, well, actually, fuck you for having me. And then you had every chance. I thought you were going to flip it. Oh, my God.
Have fun reviewing the next few volumes yourself.
Okay. No, but I mean, I don't know if I want to say it flows better. I feel like, I don't know. I have to, you know what it is, dude? I have to actually, you haven't read enough of the manga to say that. How dare you, sir?
Okay.
Granted, I don't remember enough of the manga to say anything else, so that point has to stand, because I actually don't remember. No, what I'll say is this.
That's just my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but I guess,
it's fine, dude. I don't agree with things.
You being running the show, I guess you just forgot that.
Hey, dude, come on. I don't agree with things that are wrong. Anyway, moving forward. Oh, snap. Moving forward. No, but not moving forward, actually. Still talking about this for a second.
Civil War.
Super Civil War. But no, here's where I actually kind of potentially agree or lend some credence to your point. The fights are going to be different in a way, because the fights are different. And Matt, did you just say like water's wet? Like, what are you talking about? No, it's the idea that the fights here aren't going to be the same old. I mean, even in the anime, you notice this. There isn't a lot of like punching and then like sonic booms that were heavily relied on in, like, the Frieza arc or things like that. The fights here are very fast paced, because the way I've noticed Super as a whole is it's very much trying to be this, like, snap your, like, the comedy is where things slow down in a way and remind you of Dragon Ball with this very kind of slow, nostalgic feeling. But once the fights actually do rev up, when they do happen, because, sometimes in the anime we were like, really? No fight? But when they do rev up like they do here, or even just people, I say rev up as in people like go, okay, let's stop. Look, I know, like, Goku to Frost. I know you're messing around, you know that I'm messing around. How about we just do this? And then all of a sudden everything gets even faster. I mean, we have, Roshi amongst others being like, we really can't even see this anymore.
Right, yeah. And I mean, that makes sense, too. I mean, they're virtually on the level of gods now, so it would make sense. But it's also the idea that Goku and Vegeta have been doing this for a while now. So, of course, they're not even going to fight in the same way that, they used to. They're a lot more skilled, physically and mentally.
Yes.
And that's just a change in their personality. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, I do at times miss the, like you said, the heavy hits and the sonic booms and all that stuff.
Well, it did happen in the anime.
But yeah, it's not like that hasn't happened.
And we'll have to see if that translates to the manga once that actually gets adapted.
Right, and honestly, I think it does. But we'll talk about that more later on, and I'll have a point. I'll have a point for that in a later volume.
Yeah, that's fine. Something I wanted to mention before we kind of wrap things up a little bit. I wanted to mention even though they didn't show the Frieza arc, which was, again, I was like, why are you not doing this? But at the same time, though, I enjoy that they had some background with Champa and them, and Champa kind of accidentally leading to them reviving Frieza.
Right, yeah.
Because I don't believe that was in the anime, and that obviously was not in the movie. No, that
was
a brilliant
moment. I like the little scuff that Champa and Beerus have in this, too. I think they kind of start to in the anime, but Whis and Vados, immediately break it up, whereas here you actually see them, tussle a little bit.
Yes. One thing that I don't know if it's metaphorical or if it's real, and if this actually becomes something that would occur later on in the manga, in some way or another, when Goku says the phrase, and again, this could just be a general, Japanese metaphor kind of situation, but he says, "I'm sorry, Lord Beerus, I can hear it, the power of the Super Saiyan God. It's telling me, stronger! My power can still get stronger than this." We're recording this so late I can't scream. But when he says this in particular, I am confused. I'm wondering if it's is this a metaphor, or is are we gonna get weird here? Because there's a lot. No, because especially when, and again, we can just assume that Shenron or Shenlong was wrong about this. But even Shenlong with his lore, which you would think he'd know the lore, especially because he's not comedic relief at this point in this manga. So him talking about oh yeah, Super Saiyan God, that literally only happens when a bunch of Super Saiyans get together and just will it. And apparently Goku afterwards is like, no, I can do this all the time now. And it's that was thrown out the window relatively quickly. So I do want... No, I'm just saying, I wonder if they're going to go more into the lore as we get farther into the, the manga. I feel like Shenlong is still... Because it was from Earth's Dragon Balls that they found that out. Yes.
So, in a way, I would almost feel like he wouldn't know everything about it. Kami only... Kami is... he has a vast knowledge, obviously. But I feel like there would be things that even he wouldn't be 100% sure about. And maybe that's just me, but...
What made me laugh really hard was when Whis was like, "Oh, well, you know a lot." And I feel just Piccolo is in his head, Kami's like, "Well, the jig is up." He knows. So, what do I do? Beats me, but he knows.
Kami's just I don't even know how the hell he knows that.
I mean, he could tell that there's a god there.
No, I don't.
I mean,
I wonder if Shenlong would have to be I wonder if it's... Did he know that... Did he know about the legend inherently because magical dragon? Or did he have to, here, let me, look through the universe and look through time for a minute. Give me a sec. I'm going to research this and get back to you.
It's like a Dragon Ball version of Google between all of the different versions of mythical dragons.
Yeah.
No, it's not Google.
Space and time.
It's not Google. It's Wikipedia.
It's SkyTube.
No. It's Wikipedia. So there's just one really terrible dragon who just messes with everything. Where it's just So literally, it's Shenron just so the first thing you're going to have to do, it just got changed. It says booby nipples. Great.
Oh, you're gonna have to regrow your tail. Oh, no, wait. Sorry.
Literally, just why can anyone just come in here and change this? But But either way,
Sorry,
though.
no, wait, wrong page.
Oh, one thing I have to say before we actually wrap this up, and I know you're going to agree with me here, so, I mean, maybe not. I really enjoy the fact that Jacko was not relegated to just being filler. Because, granted, because the thing is, with both Jacko and with, I just said his name is Zuno. With Zuno, it is world building, so you would hope that it would be in an official source like a manga or something like that, but you do worry that even though, yes, Jacko's story does involve Bulma's sister,
right?
You still, and that's inherent, and that's in the narrative, so that's in the
Right.
actual manga, so that's not like some weird trickery like after the fact. Like Toriyama came into this with like, yeah, no, Jacko is in the same universe, that's Bulma's sister.
Right.
So I don't believe that's a retcon. I'm pretty sure that's always been a thing, even in the manga.
Yep.
So, but at the same time, of course, we never knew that in the anime. So seeing that in the anime was fun. Seeing Jacko in both movies were fun. But again, this being another official source, it's just nice that he wasn't kind of like written off like, oh, we have better things to move on to. It's like, no, they were like, hey, let's include Jacko. And maybe they'll be including more stories about him in the future. That would be nice. So, Tristan, anything else you want to say? I'm just kind of scanning through here. But anything else you want to say before we officially wrap this baby up?
No, I think that's about it.
All right, so thank you all so much for joining us for our first ever Book of the Month for Keikaku Corner. If you like this, please tell us down below. If you want to suggest any manga for us to do, we have our plans already, but that doesn't mean that you guys, if you have an overwhelming urge for us to do something else, I'd look at Tristan, I'd be like, we're getting it. And we take a look at whatever manga you guys would want us to talk about. Heck, if Tristan is unavailable to do it, we can definitely bring on other hosts for those guys play and those guys on the radio to actually talk about stuff as well. Maybe Book of the Month becomes Book of the Month with a specific host. So, Tristan will be on for 1 month, but in the same month, I'll be with someone else. Again, just want to hear your suggestions down below because we're trying something new, trying something different. Again, suggest whatever you guys want down below. If you like the video, please remember to like and subscribe. If you don't like the video, you can still like and subscribe either way. That's totally fine. You could hate watch us. You can dislike the video and keep on going. I won't judge, Tristan. I don't judge. So either way, though, it's funny because I don't see Tristan during some of these, so like I just hear him going like, oh my god, this guy. So either way, Tristan, I'm holding up the book right now. Thank you.
Can he see me?
Shinigami eyes. Thank you so much, Tristan. I'm holding up the book right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this. That means he should too. It's like a little code. Tristan, you should as well.
I am holding up the book, and I hit you with it, but you'll
Oh
see.
no! Anyway, again, love you all.
Never saw the attack coming.
Attack on camera. Take care. Tune in next time for another Book of the Month. We'll most likely be doing Volume 2. Ooh. Or not, I don't know. We'll find out next time on the next episode. Ba-da-bum-bum. Brow. Brow. Say goodbye, Tristan.
I did.
Goodbye, everyone. Ba-da-bum-bum.
Goodbye, everyone.